come up in the middle of a conversation, don't take him down yet. He said, when a brother come up in the middle of a conversation, it's because the brother's doing too damn well. You understand? That's when brothers like myself and the other captains and stuff like that interject. Because the brother says things so great that we gotta come up on this microphone. Because it grabs Psalms 83 and 3. You understand? What you bringing out so heavy about Ricky Chow? You understand? That Chinese man that was able to chase down that 14-year-old black boy and unalive him by using a gun and putting a bullet through the back of his head. Right. The reason he was able to do that, because all these other nations teach their young ones that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indian lives are lesser than theirs. Right. You understand? That's why they're able to do these type of things and not go to prison. That's why they're able to do what they do and not go to jail or suffer any type of consequence. He unalived a 14-year-old child 130 yards away from the store that he allegedly stole a bottle of water from. Right. You understand? And he got acquitted. He didn't get no type of sentencing, and I'm talking about Ricky Chow himself, or Jackie Chow, whatever his name is. Right. You understand? But because the only reason he's able to do that is these other nations teach their young ones that our lives don't matter. You understand? How do I know that? Because right now in 2026, China has a specific doll. That doll is called the Natasha doll. And that Natasha doll is skin-colored black. You understand? They didn't make it a whole bunch of different types of colors. They made it that only a dark-skinned doll called Natasha is a stress relief doll. You understand? And they gave it a black name at the same time. But at the end of the day, that Natasha doll is used for Chinese people to relieve their stress. So when you're a stressful little child, your parents in China, you receive a Natasha doll, which is a little black baby. And when they're angry, they squeeze that doll. They cause that doll harm if it was alive. They make sure it creates pain. And when they relieve their anger, they relieve it on something that's black. You understand? When they relieve it on something that's black, that means when they grow up, when they get hurt, when they get stressed or overwhelmed, they're going to release that aggression, that anxiety on another black person. You understand? Because spiritually, they're getting brought up to say that when they are angry or stressed, the way to relieve that is commit violence on something that's black. And because we black or brown or different shades of that matter, we are the ones that suffer into that violence. You understand? And I'm going to tell you why in the Bible. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel. They have what? They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. You understand? All these other races of people, so-called white man, the Arabs, the Chinese, Japanese, they've taken crafty counsel. Where is this council held? In the United Nations. You understand? Where is your representative in the United Nations, you so-called Mexicans? You don't got one. Where's your representative, you Native Indians? You don't got one. Where's your representative, you so-called Negroes? You don't got one. You want to know why? Because they have what? They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. Because they take crafty counsel against thy people. The same counsel that they're doing right now in 2026 in the United Nations, that's the same way they did it during the transatlantic slave trade. You understand? The blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians were all put into captivity because all these nations said, okay, this is the lick. This is what we need to do. We need to capture these folk, these Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Indians, and we're going to put them to captivity and make them do our physical labor. Read. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Verse 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. You understand? They cut us off way too well. How do we know that? Because we don't even know what to call ourselves when we ask you, what's your ethnicity? When we say, what's your ethnicity? You say Christianity. That's a damn religion. That's not an ethnicity. You say black, that's a damn color. You say African American, that's the name of two different white European explorers. When we ask you what your nationality is, or ethnicity is, you don't know. Why? Because the so-called white man and the other nations, they took crafty counsel against you and stripped you away from your regular nationality.
Right.
They took your culture from you. They took your heritage away from you and gave you a color. You understand? You call yourselves a color. You call yourself Puerto Rican when that means rich port. You understand? You don't understand how devilish the so-called white man is. Read.
Come, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
What?
That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
You understand? We don't even know that so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians, the one on this side to the right, we don't even know that we're the real Israelites. Why? Because the white man's the devil the Bible speaks of.
That's right.
Because the so-called white man took our land over there in Israel and named himself Jewish.
Right.
He's claiming to be us. When you look into the Bible, you understand in Revelations 2 and 9, it says, thou art the house of Satan. You understand? The ones that took our nationality. But in 2026, guess what they're doing? They're trying to eradicate what's going on in the history books. That's how you know the white man's the devil. He changes history to how he sees fit. He's taking out the translated slave trade outside of the schooling systems. Meaning in 20 years, they're going to make sure that the slave trade never happened. They're taking it out of the history books. That's how evil so-called white man is. He erased the history of the real Jews, which are the Negroes. He eradicates the history of the real Israelites, with the Hispanics and Native Indians. That's what he does. Because he's the most defiled, disgusting bastard on this earth.
Right.
And he wants to be us so bad, he goes and claims it and says he's Jewish.
Right.
You realize the ISH at the end of the word is a suffix for something like, but not exactly? You understand? This brother's wearing black on his shirt, but if I put the word blackish, it's not black, but it's something close to.
Right.
You understand? I know you all don't read you don't know grammar. Y'all probably failed all your English classes or your English literature. You understand? The ISH means something like, but not exactly. That's what the Jewish man over there in Israel is.
Right.
He's something like an Israelite, but he's really not.
Right.
You understand? Because he's a conqueror and a thief, because that's who the so-called white man is. And because of all these other nations, they helped him deceive the blacks and Hispanics and stealing their culture. You understand? So without